Om Sahna Vavatu Sahnau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay. So we were at verse 9 and we had read half of Swamiji's commentary. And just to continue with the right thought, the translation of the verse was, and that from which the sun rises and into which it merges, on that all the devatas depend and no one goes beyond, that is indeed that. This is indeed that. So it was this, what he's talking about, is that what Nachiketa had asked Yamraj, that factor, that Brahman he's talking about. And then we had discussed in detail that when he are talking about sun rising and setting, they don't mean physical rise and set, but jahan se it manifests. And then sun rising and setting was entire phenomenal world, or entire cosmos they are mentioning. And then also we talked about that all the devatas, and we were going in detail that devatas are those five elements. And at our body level, we call the senses, can be called devata, that illumines the world for us. Divya, or that word divya means to illumine. That five senses illumine, and those five senses are coming from those five phenomenal forces only. And they cannot go beyond, because everything rests in Brahman only. Just like all the waves rest in ocean. Same way. So that was the background. And then we had done, and I know that Meena ji keeps a very good track. So I thought we finished.
Let us try to understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So any volunteers to read? Okay, here, Shireen.
Let us try to understand the import of the statement made by the Upanishad in the light of the scientific discoveries of our own times. The sense organ ear is declared to be presided over by Akash, space. A modern scientist will admit that sound can be created and conveyed only in space. If there were no space, no sound would have been generated or conveyed. The world that lies beyond the concept of space, known to all of us, is the world of sleep, where certainly sound has no entry. Viewed thus, what is wrong if the great masters of the Upanishad had declared that the ear is presided over by space?
So, here he's giving the scientific reason. So that's why Upanishads are so scientific that, even modern science will have to accept that for the sound we need space. Without space, the sound cannot be heard. So he's just saying that as though space is a devata for the ear. So when India mein bolenge ki koi devta hai to, oh, you guys just believe in, itne sare devta kuch, they just, it's all, so many people, but they don't understand that there is a reason behind it. When we study the reason, complete sense. And one of the acharyas was explaining that, devata is something that we depend on, we call it devata. जिसमें जो हमको कुछ एक्स्ट्रा देता है, मतलब जिसके बिना हमारा काम नहीं चलता. Like I remember one of she's still alive, my aunt, my Taiji, she actually worshipped the ocean. She would go and worship because... I'm sorry?
It's water.
Yeah, water. And if you think about it...
We cannot live without
Exactly. So now it's making more sense. At that time, so why she's doing... Or, we worship so many plants, and all these plants that we worship are medicinal value it has. Like the tulsi, and wo haldi ka banate hain, kuch Ganesh ji banayenge, vagara vagara. So they have done it because they actually give us so much.
So it's one of the Panch Bhutas, right?
Which one? Water? Yes, water is one of the Panch. Yeah. And even this is a representative of the earth, if you think about it. Without earth, our body is made up of earth.
Yeah, we all that.
So see how our thinking changed, and then like respecting the nature and all, because you are nature. You cannot, in the West, you separate me and nature. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? You are nature. So when you pollute, you are hurting yourself. It's like throwing garbage in your own body. Who will want to do that? So, because this is what our Shastras teach us, that hey, you may think you are separate. No, you are a part of the universe very much. And everything that is in universe is in you. And the next verse is going to tell you absolutely strongly. You will see when we come to it.
In a dark room, for all our struggle to see, we shall see nothing but darkness. When the room is lit, we see the objects. Thus, in the presence of the objects, the eyes cannot see them except when they are blessed by the principle of light. In short, only in a medium of light can the instrument of eye function, except in negligible instances where some animals can see in darkness too. Such being the case, what is wrong if the rishis of the Upanishads, in the language of the era, describe the instrument eye to be presided over by the visible source of all light, the sun?
The sun ko God banaya na, matlab devata of the eyes, because we cannot see without light. And we know scientifically any source of light on this earth it's coming from the sun only.
Yeah.
Right? That it's determined. So there it is. That that why they are calling a presiding deity of. So he's just explaining in the sun. Yeah.
But for the sound, they said space. That's one of the 5 elements. Okay. For this one, they said sun.
You can call it fire. You can call it fire.
Fire would have been equivalent to that. I was thinking that would have been equivalent, because that's one of the 5 elements we're talking about. Here they took it as sun. So
it's okay, but sun is the fireball only.
But some people think sun is a creator, right?
For us, our solar system, it is. But where is sun getting his? This verse is telling you sun is getting its power from the Brahman. Yeah. This verse itself is telling you, but it is like we discussed. There is a government is there, but then there is a different department, and there is a head of the department, and there is a clerk. Even clerk has a power, Baba. Without clerk, won't be able to see the head, the guy who makes the appointment. So main power is coming from Brahman. First it comes to the sun, then the sun gives us. But for us, sun is a devata, because without sun we cannot exist. But if suppose the sun ko abhiman ho gaya, one of the Kathoupanishad mein hai ye story ki the 5 elements got proud. They thought, oh, they are so great that they have so much power, they can do this, and then that Brahman came in the form of a yaksha, and then it gave it a blade of glass and said, okay, isko jalao, isko matlab udao, वगैरह कुछ नहीं कर पाए वो. Then they suddenly realized that, oh my God, I am nothing. So, but from our perspective, yes, sun is a devata, but from sun's perspective, Brahman. And okay. That's how you can look at it. And then
would it be fire then? Would it be fire?
Yeah, you can call it fire, no problem. See, sun, what is the main source from that we get? Heat and light from the sun, isn't it? Fire is heat and light.
But sun comes from, because of the 5 elements, the sun is a part of the 5
yes,
elements.
True. And that's why it's a mystical language. Both ways it will fit. That's all I'm saying. If you want to take fire makes you feel comfortable, that's okay too.
No, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, it is a representative of fire only. Sun is a representative of fire, because if you talk about sun, okay, scientifically speaking, Meenaji, we are looking at only one sun. But if you look at the whole cosmos, there are gazillion suns. So they are saying that every sun is getting the power from that Brahman.
Right.
So it
is part of
it's a fire element. True.
Yes.
Fire element. True. So, but the sun, people feel little more easy to relate to. That's why they put it. Many times
This
they
is the
do.
comparison. Because they said space first and then they said the sun, and I'm trying to say, okay, the 5 elements, to me it's the 5 elements. I'm just stuck with the 5 elements. So
But just think of it this way, that when they talk about sun, they are talking about fire.
yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Thus, when approached in a spirit of sympathetic understanding, research and discovery, we shall find, clothed in the frocks of Vedika frills and ancient ribbons, there revels eternally the deathless Eve of truth, whose for all times and for all people. If the modern educated Hindus reach the doors of their own scripture only to laugh at and to ridicule it, let them remember that they are laughing at their own ignorance and lack of understanding.
So he uses very kind of poetic language. All he's saying is that, just like Meenaji was discussing about the sun and the fire and all, he's saying sometimes their language can be in the frocks of Vedic frills and ancient ribbons, because they have their own way of expressing. It's like I did not study too much of the literature and Western literature, but Meeraji is here. All the Shakespeare language and all that, they had their time का उनका अलग होता था ना language. And even like हमारे शास्त्रों में there is another language how they express it. So it depends on the history and वो time पे क्या language use करते थे. और फिर जब कोई बहुत enthusiastic होता है और जिसका बड़ा poetic mind होता है ना, वो different ढंग से बोलेगा. And I'll give you a simple example. हमारी ये कहानी है कि वो हनुमान जी पहाड़ उठा के ले आए. ओके, अभी कोई बोलेगा कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है. सो चलो पोइटिक लैंग्वेज में भी हम लोग किसी को बोला कि you told your son, okay, go get me that something from that bag, and the person went there and could not find, he bring the whole bag to you. So क्या पहाड़ उठा के तुम ले आए? Don't we say that? Just because somebody says that pahad, it may not be that whole pahad, but he brought a lot more than what Ramchandra ji asked him, because he got confused. So he may have brought. So the same way, all they are saying is they are using all these different language. तुम उसमें से उसका essence देखो क्या बोल रहे हैं वो, और वो essence में बहुत science है वो कह रहे हैं. And he's saying that if you are laughing at your own scriptures, you are showing your own ignorance. And that's why, like they say Shraddha honi chahiye, right? So Shraddha is not blind faith. But as we study Bhagavad Gita, we understand the concept and then we believe in it. And then our knowledge changes from that perspective. Before we were thinking we are the body, we are the mind. And no. Now we are getting more and more convinced as we are reading this. So that's what it is, that, you have to constantly, and then go to that, what they're actually trying to tell you. Some people might get stuck at the frills and the decoration only. It's like, I think that Vivekanand ji said that. There's a banana and there's a peel. So you are just focusing on the peel so much you forgot the banana and threw away the banana. So,
Here he's talking about this deathless Eve of truth. He's talking about Brahman.
Yeah, he's talking about that. He's talking about the Brahman, because in India, like they say that the West has the peel and the India has the banana, but you need both to survive. That's what, because in banana by itself will not work, because okay, just pure knowledge, but then your physical world also.
Make you slip.
Huh? What's that? Banana peel will make you slip. See, but there's you need both. So that's why they say East or West का दोनों को एक दूसरे से ज़रूरत है, because the West has done fantastic with the peel. It has done so much. All these our phones and our this and our that and all is helping us. But whenever they want a spiritual thing, they always run to the East. In the philosophy or physically also they run. And for the East, okay, we have great philosophy and all that, but we forgot about the peel. So the banana starts rotting then. You have to cover it with a nice peel and take it out when you need it. See what I'm saying? So that's how we have to look at it. We have to contemplate it like that.
Thus, the mantra clearly declares that all the 5 great elements depend entirely on the Supreme Self, the pure existence. The deities of the 5 sense organs, the gods, depend upon the Supreme Reality, the pure consciousness, as the spokes of wheel upon the hub of it. But for the central hub, we all know for certain that the different spokes can neither maintain themselves nor function on their own little part effectively in strengthening the wheel.
So another way he's telling you. First, he's telling you that the 5 great elements depend entirely on the Supreme Self. And the deities, these are the deities of the 5 sense organs, the gods. And so we have already gone through it. And then he gave the example that, for there are different spokes, but you need that hub to keep it all together and give it strength and, for it to function. That's a good example, yeah.
So this truth, which is the substratum for the fundamental elements, is that which you have been asking for.
So then this is that. So he's telling him from so many different angles, that what it is. And then in my book, there is the verses 6 to 9. It says, shows that the one Lord who entered the human heart as the self is also the universal self from which all creation has sprung. So then this is the relationship between Atma and Paramatma. That, Atma is, and remember when he said entered, it's not like entering a house, huh?
Yeah.
So that again, the language, don't get stuck with the language. That बाद में प्रवेश किया उन्होंने, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Inherently है वो उसमें. And the other way, I think that if we get confused about Atma, Paramatma, we should look at the sun rays and sun. What is the relationship? Sun rays are sun only.
Yeah.
But individual rays might start thinking, but has no existence without the sun. Right? That's another way that the waves and the ocean example is there.
Waves and the ocean.
Yeah, but even sun rays and sun is another example. That each ray can call, I am an Atma, but together it's called sun.
Clay pot.
Clay pot, yes.
Gold.
Yeah.
All these.
Yes, see, you remember all of those examples. They are very good examples, right?
Yeah, very.
Okay, so any question, comment on this one? Whatever we read?
I wanted to ask something.
Just a small clarification, Umaji. The meaning where it's given, and it says all devatas depend, and no one goes beyond. When they say no one goes beyond, what is that? What are they saying there?
What they're saying is that you cannot have existence without that Brahman. You cannot go beyond the Brahman. A world cannot exist without the Brahman. That's what it means.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, Umaji, in this paragraph, when he's talking about the hub and the spokes, hub is the Brahman, right?
Yeah, it's giving you, see, when they give examples, each example has some shortcoming in it. That's why when you give several examples, you draw what he's trying to say. Because if you just look at the spokes and the hub, it looks like 2 different parts, right? But Brahman and Atma is not 2 different parts. So from that perspective, don't get confused with this. But all they are trying to tell you is without the hub, spokes cannot do anything. And I will tell you why he's saying that, because that's a good question you asked. When we come to chapter 7, there is a verse कि उसमें कृष्ण भगवान बोलेंगे कि Brahman is like मैंने necklace पहना हुआ है, सो नेकलेस में मोती है, समझो ये मोती वाला नेकलेस है, अब ये मेरा चेन है, सो इट्स नॉट गोना फिट, सपोज मोती है डिफरेंट, उसको साथ में कौन रखता है? एक धागा साथ में रखता है, राइट? धागा, अगर कोई नेकलेस कोई अच्छा बना हुआ नेकलेस तो धागा हमको दिखाई नहीं देगा, लेकिन बिना धागे के कि वो माला ही नहीं बन सकती है. इज दैट ट्रू? So he said that Brahman is like that dhaga that keeps everybody together. Okay? So even though it is invisible, without that, nothing is possible. So any kind of harmony you see anywhere, it's coming from Brahman only. Even in this class, believe it or not, when we are all gathering over here in a harmonious way, the power is coming from that Brahman only. So उस context में ये wheel और इसका बताया है कि भाई.
I have a question for the deities of the five sense organs.
Yeah, we'll come to that in 1 minute. We'll come to that. So, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll just make sure that Anil ji ka question all of us have answered properly.
Okay.
So from that perspective is saying that without that hub, individual spoke don't mean much. So for example, even these 5 elements, they have to work in harmony with each other, right? Otherwise there will be chaos.
Yeah.
And that harmony is kept by that Brahman.
Right.
But isn't it, I just read it when I thought the hub being the Brahman itself and the spokes being the 5 elements which are coming from. Okay, maybe that's not the
I mean, that's why I said that no example is perfect.
perfect.
Yeah, but the idea that they are telling you over here, without the hub, the spokes cannot create a wheel. And it cannot move
But I
forward.
thought that, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So same way, like for this universe, is cosmos to keep moving properly. Brahman is it's a unifying force.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And the other thing that I understand from this example of hub and spokes, if one spoke broke, the wheel will be unstable.
True, and for the cosmos, but in the Brahman example, that's why it doesn't fit 100%, because Brahman can stay without the cosmos, but cosmos cannot be without the Brahman. Right. See what I'm saying? So from that perspective, this may not be. But what you are saying, it can fit in the context of, for the wheel to go smoothly, we need all spokes working in harmony. And there is one Upanishad, I don't know which one it is, but I've heard that वहाँ पर इस language में use किया गया है कि वो ब्रह्मन के भय से ना अग्नि burns and the vayu does this and all, because भय बोल दिया उसमें. But it's not the exact word. Respect भी बोल सकते हैं. मगर it is something like, I'll tell you a joke and it fits in over here कि एक आदमी ना एक ऑफिस में गया और बोला कि बॉस से बात करनी है. तो बॉस को उससे बात नहीं करनी थी, तो बॉस बोला कि उसको बोल दो मैं नहीं हूँ यहाँ पे, तो वो बाहर जाके बोला नहीं है बॉस. तो ये भी बैठा रहा, बोला नहीं मैं बैठता हूँ. तो बोला कि क्यों, बोल दिया ना बॉस नहीं है यहाँ पे. तो बोला झूठ बोल रहे हो. तो बोला क्यों, सब लोग तुम लोग काम कर रहे हो, बॉस नहीं होता तो पार्टी कर रहे होते यहाँ पे बैठ के. So that's what Brahman keeps everybody in line. It's like the law of the constitution keeps America in line, kind of thing. So that's where this fits.
Even in Bhagavad Gita, it says, I think it is in the chapter 3, is the cosmic wheel of cooperative action. There is one.
Yes, there is one. Exactly. So we, in the past, because you joined late, we already went in detail. It's basically telling you that the person who doesn't, there is a cosmic wheel, means there is a, going on in the universe. And if you don't contribute in that, then your life is in vain. Or a person who just keeps take and doesn't give, he's like a thief. So, us context mein sab aaya tha, chapter 3 mein. Yeah. So, anyway, does that answer this particular question about this example of the wheel? Because there is a lot in it, in this example of the wheel. Okay, so if we are satisfied, then we can go to Shireen's question now. Yeah. Shireen, what's your question? Oh, we can't hear you, Shireen. You're to unmute.
He says something about the deities of the 5 sense organs. I want to have their names.
5 sense organs? So
Yes,
eyes.
the deities.
Eyes is the fire or the sun.
Oh, eyes is fire. Okay.
Yeah, fire means, like that's what Meeraji was saying, that they call it sun, but sun represent fire only.
Okay.
Yeah, because on our physical eyes cannot see without the sun. And all even if you flashlight or moonlight or whatever light you talk about, coming from the sun only. for our purposes. Okay? That's why it's called the sun. And then for the taste, it is Varun Devta because it's like water. Right? Water. And then touch is air. We cannot feel the touch unless there is air. And then what is left? Space is, yeah, kya reh gaya abhi? Did I cover all five?
Space and earth.
Oh, earth. Earth is smell.
What?
Yeah, smell is because of earth.
Okay. And space?
Space, ears. So when we say taste means tongue, you can call it. Yeah. So those are the
God we worship for that. Are there any gods related?
Yeah, there are. Don't we call when we hear this? We see all these shows. Air is बोलते ना वायु देवता के पुत्र हनुमान. Pavan putra Hanuman. Then in Vayu Devta के और कौन थे? Bhim was son of Vayu Devta.
Okay.
Wasn't he? Bhim was the son of Vayu Devta. Yeah. So
and we say in India we say Mother Earth, but what?
Yeah, we say exactly. We call it Devi, Mother Earth. Yes. Without Earth, I mean, they call it Dhairya ki Devi. Means it has so much patience. You उसको पीटेंगे, उस पे कूड़ा कचरा फेंकेंगे, it still nourishes you.
And fire is Agni Devi.
Agni Devta. They call it male form.
And space is what?
Space, they don't have a personification of the Devta of the space. That's true. But I've heard in South, they have a temple. There are 5 different temples. I don't know in which state. For each element. And in the temple of space, they don't have any deity because space is all pervading. There's an open space. Yeah.
So, but they have a temple for space.
Yes, I've heard about that. You guys can do
just nothing inside.
Nothing inside. I have not personally visited that temple, but somebody told me about it, that there are those 5 temples in the south that gives for each element. Yeah.
But there must be some sound there.
Yeah, Om sound. Somebody can put Om sound and call it. Sure, for sure. Yeah. Because the people, I don't know how many of you have heard about that when they hear the sound from the space, like they have instruments now, right?
It is that sound.
That sound is like Om only.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if they say कि वो शंख होता है ना, उसको ऐसे कान पे रखो तो Om sound सुनाई देता है.
Yeah.
Because it's empty inside, no? Some kind of vibrations happen. All these things, you hear about, but who knows?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We are okay now?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so let's go to the next verse. Verse 10. Yadeveha tadamutra tadanviha mrutyo samrutyumapnoti ya ihananeva pashyati. Yat is what? Ev is indeed. Iha is here. Tat is that. Amutra means there. Yatra, what is? Yata, sorry, not yatra. Yata is what is. Amutra again is these. Tat. Amutra is there, right. Tat anu. The same according to that. We'll see. When we see the word meaning, you get confused, but when we see the real meaning, you will see what it means. Iha is here, is here. Mrityo, everybody knows from death. Sa is he. Mrutyum, to death. Apnoti, proceeds or meets. Yaha is who. Iha is here. Nana eva, as different. But eva meaning as though also. It'll fit better as though. Pashyati, beholds. So what are they saying over here? Basically, the word meaning of this is that, firstly, Tejamayananji said that this is a very well-known mantra because, all the Swamis, they know that what they study more, and also this is one of them. In verse is saying, whatever is here, same is there. And you can say vice versa also. Whatever is there, same is here. What are they saying here and there? Remember, he's saying this is that. So we'll see what here and there it means. So it's the same thing is both places. And the person who as though sees the difference. Actually, difference is not there, but if you see the difference, more than seeing, the person who believes in that difference, I would say. That would be fit, that language will fit more correctly over here. He goes from death to death. And you know what? He pointed out, he's not talking about going from birth to death. He's saying death to death, emphasizing more on that. And we'll see why they are saying it. So he's saying that, now let's talk about here and there. What are they talking about here and there? One is a pure consciousness. There is means pure consciousness. Even though we are saying there, it technically not there, but for understanding purposes, because we always say Bhagwan ko kehte hum upar dekhte hain, right? Bhagwan upar hai. But Vedanta tells us he's within us. So actually to niche dekhna chahiye, or I say andar dekhna chahiye, but anyway. So just a language, okay, there. So what Shankaracharya explained, here when they talk about, they are talking about mind, body, intellect, senses, this individual Jivatma that we call it, with all the conditioning, And what is this conditioning is nothing but what we have studied all along is a pure consciousness with the conditioning is here. So what he's saying, so that pure consciousness which is within our body, the same pure consciousness is there. Actually, it is the same thing. So when over here, when the conditioning is not there, it is pure Chaitanya there, here only. It's something like you have the rays of the sun, and the sun rays, sun only, no? I mean, in a way. So that's how we can think about it like this, okay? And sun rays may not be the best example. Space is a better example, because space you cannot cut, no matter what you do. You can build. Sorry?
Umaji, could you say the heat of the sun rays and the essence of the sun rays and the essence of the sun, both are heat? Would you say that or not?
Yeah, you can say that if you want to, but that's why I like the space example, the best one. For here and there, जो इस वर्ष में बोल रहे हैं ना, because sun में थोड़ा सा, okay, rays of the sun get absorbed by the thing and blah blah blah. But space, we know, no matter what we do, we cannot cut the space. We cannot separate the space. Same way Brahman and Atma cannot be separated.
But the rays and the sun cannot be separated.
Yeah, true. So if you want to look at it that way, fantastic. But some people may argue, like the people who are physicists and all that, they might say that sun rays, after a while it get absorbed by something else and it might get, you call it, separated from some, I don't know. They might think it that way. If you have that danger, if you are thinking sun rays is part of the sun, then that example is good for you.
I mean, to me, it was like the waves and the ocean. The essence is the same. The wave is different. It's little. The wave, ocean is big.
Right.
But the
essence is the same.
So and I was looking at the essence of it.
But there's one more factor, that the waves is absolute integral part of the ocean. If, as I said, that like our teacher used to say, you cannot bring the water in my house and call it a wave. I call it a wave only when it is connected with the ocean.
True, but okay, I guess then it depends on how you're using the example then, because that's what it is. Okay.
But just try to draw what they are trying to say, that hey, जो वहाँ है वही यहीं है, और जो यहाँ है वही वहीं है. Same thing.
Yeah.
I said, that keep it in mind. And he will tell you, I mean, Tejomayananji went into the depth why they are saying it, and each Swami, they bring out different points, and that's why we are doing two different Swamis' perspective. Both are very valid, what they are saying, because together it will sink in better for us.
Umaji, in a simple language, are they saying that who sees Brahman in everything?
Yes.
Right?
That's what it is coming to.
Right.
Yeah, you jumped the gun, but that's totally fine, because you already got what they're trying to say. Two things they're trying to say. One, they're trying to say is, You don't need to go look for Brahman in anywhere else.
Right.
Because whatever is here is that only. He's saying हम लोग सारी जिंदगी पर भगवान ढूंढते रहते हैं. You know, and he's saying even when we say आत्मा, तो लगता है कि आत्मा तो अलग है. No, it's you only. See what I'm saying? So the saints and sages are bringing you back again to yourself only. And then the other idea is that somebody might have this false notion that, oh, if my Atma is within me, somebody's Atma is within them, then is it separate or what? But when we come to chapter 13, Krishna Bhagwan ne ekdam thok baja ke bola ki that Kshetrajna is only one, means that consciousness within everyone is actually only one. Just like the space, your house space is your house space, my house space is my house space. But in reality, nobody can cut the space, right? Maybe 1,000 years, 2,000 years from now, the houses are not going to be there. Space is going to be the same. Yeah. So that's how you have to contemplate upon it. So basically everybody understood. So जो यहाँ है वो वहाँ है, जो वहाँ है जो वो यहाँ है, right? So he gave Tejomayanand gave a very good example that he's saying कोई actor है समझो, हाँ? और वो उसने actor means he's taking a role of somebody, beggar है, or rich man, poor man, king, whatever. So suppose वो एक movie कर रहा है जिसमें वो beggar है समझो, तो वो beggar का paraphernalia लेके बैठेगा, right? He will be wearing a beggar clothes and he will have a bowl in his hand and sitting under some pole or something, whatever you want to say. So he's saying that suppose if he वो भूल गया कि मैं ये फलाना एक्टर हूँ, वैसे वो घर में जाएगा तो फिर वो सारा पैराफर्नेलिया छोड़ के जाएगा, फिर वहां पर वो अपने ओशन व्यू वाले घर में बैठेगा, देखेगा and all that everything, but suppose if he is with the conditioning and then he forgets and he's saying जैसे कि शाहरुख खान है, शाहरुख खान ने बेगर का रोल किया तो वो बेगर बन गया, फिर वो भूल गया कि मैं शाहरुख खान है, फिर कोई आके बोलेगा अरे तू तो शाहरुख खान है, तो वो शाहरुख खान को ढूंढेगा कौन है शाहरुख खान, बिकॉज वो खुद ही भूल गया कि मैं ही हूँ. Same way it happens to us, that we are given this body and this mind and all that like a paraphernalia, and now you are like so stuck with it that you forgot that that you are not this is just a conditioning. You are that same God that you are looking for. It is within you only. Okay, so that's what the main thing is over here. And the Tejomayanand ji actually practical use of this verse mein wo gaye, which was I thought very important. So he said that one of the other implication is that no matter what it is in the world, it could be even devatas, because हमारे पुराणों में ना there are many different species बताई गई है, like besides what is there on this earth. They call it, you must have heard of it, devata, danav, gandharv, kinnar, सर्प और अप्सरा और पशु पक्षी तो हम जानते ही हैं, सर्प भी हम लोग जानते हैं, but there are some people believe there's a nagalok somewhere, the people look like nagas and they can turn into humans and all that, whatever. So he's saying all those are also conditioning. So जो उनके essence में है वही that main thing is. So just not us on the earth but everywhere, but we kind of know it, but he was just bringing this point. And then over here in this verse, I was telling you that use the word, eva. Eva means as though. So now what this verse is saying, that the person who sees differences, or the person who is literally established in that difference, you should say. Because at this stage, we intellectually know of the oneness, but we don't have the experience. But there's somebody who very firmly believes that there is a difference in this, that person is saying goes from death to death. So why he is saying about this, he's saying practical purposes, don't even worry about the physical death, Tejomayanand ji said. That is coming to everybody. What do they mean by death to death for us in this while we are living over here? He's saying that if you don't recognize that self, and if you are careless about it or don't contemplate and just let it be, honestly speaking, he said that's the real death. Why? Because he's saying that creates many problems for us on this earth. What kind of problems will it create? It will make our life very complex. Because what will we do? We will be like, they call it, pramad. And has anybody heard the word pramad? Pramad in Hindi, it's kind of called laziness, but our teacher used to explain when they talk the word pramad in Vedanta, it means intellectual laziness. I am not using my intellect for vivek, for finding out who I really am. So that's called living in pramad. Okay. And then avidya, we know. Avidya is, like ignorance. Means I'm not trying to shatter my ignorance over here. What will happen then? I'll have this desire or that desire. I want this, I don't want this, and all likes and dislikes and all those problems. And also, he's saying that immediately all those other problems come. Tera, mera, tu or tera, or me or mera. And actually it seems in Ramayana, and Miraji is here. She knows Ramayana very well. So in that it says that किसी ने रामचंद्र जी को पूछा, I think there was a conversation going on between Lakshman ji and Ram ji. What is Maya? So he said, Maya is मैं or more, tu or to, something like that. Means me and mine, yours, you and yours is Maya. He's dividing. Is that, have you heard of that, Miraji? Something like that, huh? I don't know the exact language, Avdi, but to that effect. So he's saying that Tejo Maharaj brought this such an amazing point that when they're talking about person go dead to death, you're dying every day. Rag, dvesh mein, tum ji rahe ho, partiality, prejudice, greed. And whatever is happening right now with the war, it's a greed, So greed and all those things, that causes this kind of death. So every day you are dying kind of thing, And then the other thing he brought out, that when you believe in this separation and you don't see the oneness, then what happens? You compromise with your ideals also. That's another kind of death. Because if you have some ideal in your mind and you cannot live up to it, it bothers us, no? It bothers our conscience, and that's like another kind of death that you feel so horrible. And he's saying sometimes that's why we make mistakes and baad mein lagta hai maine aisa kyun kiya, because you are seeing differences and all that. That's what it is. And he's saying that ek aur problem hota hai, which we discussed already. Like when we were talking, Anilji was saying that you start searching for God somewhere else. That's another problem can happen. But this verse is telling you, jo wahan hai, wo yahi hai, wo jo yahan hai, wo wahan hai. So you saying that, okay, this is here only, within me. And that's why this whole thing about meditation and all that, diving within yourself. And then he also brought that chapter 13. So chapter 13 में उन्होंने क्षेत्र और क्षेत्रज्ञ बोला, 2 words use किए हैं. तो क्षेत्र means all the material things. Prakriti जिसको बोलते हैं हम लोग, nature. And our body is part of nature, we discussed, right? So body is also क्षेत्र बोला गया body को. तो एक body है और एक क्षेत्रज्ञ है, means knower of the body. So he's saying that knower of the body, we all know, we are conscious of our body. So you can call that as a knowing or the witness. He said that, Krishna Bhagavan said in one of the verses, when we come to chapter 13, we'll study in detail, that the Kshetrajna is one only. And he said, I am that Kshetrajna, because he was talking from that highest perspective, Brahman. So there is only one Kshetrajna. And the way I will give the example of the space is, even though each thing has a separate space of it, but space is only one. So it's all pervading. And through me, when it comes, I feel like it is my Atma. But actually it is the same. So from that perspective, we already discussed that, what he's talking about. So Tejo Mehananji was just saying that this is a very deep mantra. And you have to think about it. You have to contemplate about it. And these are very highest point. But there are some relative points again you can take, and he even brought in the point that we have done this. We have a Mahan Atma, right? Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and so all these deities, Ganesh and all, they are also, the Atma is the same in it, or that Brahman is same, and even in an ant, he said it's the same. And there were several verses earlier in Bhagavad Gita when we studied that the person at the highest perspective sees a, same in everything. We're talking about from this perspective. And then he gave one more practical thing. I thought that was really good. He said that suppose we are at one place, and then I feel, I got so tired and bored, I want to go somewhere else now. So you go another place, thinking that बड़ा मजा आएगा वहाँ पे, because यहाँ पर तो बहुत problem है, और वहाँ पर suddenly it will be like goody stuff. And he said, उधर की बोलेगे problem, बोलेगे आजा, come on, I'll give you another problem. So he's saying that we may think somewhere else it's something great, but it's going to be the same. So he said, ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि कोई काम की वजह से कहीं जाना हो तो नहीं जाओ ना. He's not talking about that. If you're trying to escape something, that's not going to work for you, because जो वहाँ है वो यहाँ है, जो यहाँ है वो वहाँ है. So he brought another angle to it, So, and I know that all of us who came here from India, people came for career, for money, whatever purpose they came. But some people who come and live here, then they keep dreaming about India. Oh God, इतना अच्छा होएगा वहाँ पे, ये वो, फिर वो वहाँ जाते हैं, वहाँ फिर दुखी होते हैं. So he's saying कि America has American problem and India has Indian problem. Wise people know that. So don't think that somewhere it is going to be. So he said that sorrow is here, sorrow is going to be there. But even in heaven, he said, don't be under delusion. There's fear and problems are there also. All the Puranic stories you hear, Indra was always so scared and also. So he brought this another very, very good point. So he's saying this verse is like a Ved Praman, which is saying that sum and substance of this whole thing is what Anilji was saying, that there is only one Brahma Tattva. That oneness you recognize. So he's saying even through our worldly eyes, we may see the difference. That's not a problem. But if you start believing that the difference is real, and then you go into this inferiority, superiority complex and all that, that's when the problem comes, he said. So basically, the ignorance is the one that causes rag and dvesh. And that becomes a big tragedy. And he said, the next verse, it will tell us how to realize this great truth, because that's what the main thing is. But this verse, they are telling you, whatever is there is here, here is there, same thing, recognize it. And the person who does not recognize it, then he goes from death to death. Any comment, question? I think we'll have to read next time.
When he's saying he goes from death to that, that also means that his life is wasted. This life is wasted.
Yes, you can say that for sure. Absolutely. And also wo janam maran ka chakkar, that we already know. Again and again, reincarnating, coming back and all that. Everything, all those three things.
And you come back again.
Yeah. True.
Could you, Umaji, take death to death? I'm just thinking, because if you see the difference, that means the vasanas are also created.
Yeah.
But the vasanas are created, and that's because of the ignorance.
Yes.
That created. And therefore, you're not going to come out of it till you see the oneness, what is
you will not come out of it.
Out there.
Yeah. And I think they use instead of birth and death, because birth में हम लोग rejoice करते हैं ना.
Right.
Death में हम लोग बहुत दुखी होते हैं. So he's telling death to death ही बोल दिया. उसको emphasize करने के लिए, because we know कि जो पैदा हुआ है वो जाएगा.
Right.
So
I think it is also meant to express many lives, in the sense from one death in one life to another death in another life.
Yes.
Meaning to say so many lives you will be wasting unless you come to that realization.
Yes.
Is that what it
Yes,
means?
absolutely. It's telling you that also. And then the reason Tejomayananji brought a lot of practical things, because even Chinmayananji always says that when they talk about death in Vedanta, we sometimes we only associate it with the bodily death, but there are other kind of deaths also. You know, बोलते हैं रोज मरना, एक जो स्ट्रेस में रहता है वो जैसे रोज मर रहा हो. You know?
But it is true. What is gone? This minute is gone. It's died. There's a new minute.
True.
There's a new moment.
If you really believe in that philosophy, then you will not worry about it, because Swamiji always says, why you want to live in the dead moments, man? Who dead means just gone. Just forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the here in the Western world, when somebody is having some stress issue or something, our Vedanta says, hey, whatever is gone, just forget about it now. Focus on the present and make your life better. But they dig a lot in the past. Oh, there's some therapy, talk about 100 times what happened in your childhood and all. I personally find it a lot of waste of time, because even if bad things has happened to you, why you want to relive it 100 times? It's going to only get worse. Yeah, you can learn a lesson. Nobody's saying don't learn the lesson from history. उसका सार लेके आगे बढ़ो फिर.
Umaji, you are 100% right. Whenever you think of something bad that you did or that happened to you, instead of thinking about it, if you think what you learned from it, then it makes it go away.
Yeah. Or just, there are so many different ways to dissolve that in our scriptures. One is, okay, if something bad happened to me, I may have done something bad to someone, right? Because the law of karma, nothing happens to me just out of the blue. You cannot say that law of karma was, I believe in law of karma, something bad happens to me, why did it happen? That means we don't believe in law of karma. Think about it. क्या बोल रहे थे? Sorry.
And I that if somebody does something bad to you, in a way you can thank them.
Yes.
Because they just cleaned up some of your vasanas.
That a wise person will exactly look at like that. In fact, that's what a lot of saints and sages say. It's very hard to do. That कोई तुमको गालियां दे रहा है, वो कर रहा है, उसको thank करो कि भाई तुम्हारे कर्म कट रहे हैं. You have to be like a Buddha for that. But Buddha का है ना कि भाई this person was kept saying abuses to him, and he just kept quiet and kept smiling. And the person got so disturbed at night because he said, मैं इतनी गालियां दी, but he kept smiling. He has something that I need to learn. Then he goes back to Buddha, and Buddha said, if somebody is already full of God's love, or he didn't believe in exact God, but if somebody is already full within, they don't need something else from anybody. Whether it is good, praise भी नहीं चाहिए उनको, right? किसी ने पेट भर के खाना खा लिया हो, यहाँ तक भर गया हो, और फिर उसको जाके तुम मिठाई दो या कुछ खाना उसको पसंद नहीं हो, वो दोनों नहीं खाएगा वो. That was one. And then other thing, then he said that तुमने दिया मुझे, मैंने लिया ही नहीं.
Yes.
That's another angle. He said that if I don't take it, who does it go back to? The person who gave it. So तुम्हारी गाली तुमको ही वापस. That's even... If I don't take the gift from somebody. But these are very beautiful concepts, but very hard for us to follow, right? But we can try to remember them. Yeah. So, any other point or question or... Okay. We can close the class here then. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah.